guys, so today we're doing something slightly different. I was going to be on camera to do this video, but once again my camera is running out of battery. I say running out, I put it on charge last night, one of the cats knocked it over and it hasn't charged, so it's on charge again right now. Okay, so this video was let's start that sentence again. This video was requested by a viewer a long time ago. I'm really sorry I never got around to doing it sooner. There's lots of things that got in the way. Moving was a big thing. Actually getting into YouTube to start off was another thing. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and do this. So I was asked many years ago if I could do a video. The cats are squabbling. Of the different paths of paganism and stuff like that. Now, I did a lot of research into this, so not all of it is going to be correct because I don't have books on this subject. I have just used the internet. I don't have people who are happy to, Loki, that's my microphone, talk to me about this kind of thing, okay? So please bear with me and understand that this is research, but it is not research to the absolute pinnacle of research. So if you are interested in anything that is in this video, please go research, look for yourself, find something out, find something interesting, go on Facebook, and we're just going to go straight into it. So we're going to start off with the practice of occultism. This is typically what everyone thinks of when you mention witchcraft and stuff like that. Not necessarily a religious path, but I will get into that. According to the Wikipedia page, this study is typified by the search for hidden or forbidden knowledge. However, if you dig deeper, the knowledge is less forbidden and more just ridiculously hard to find. Typically, occultism is defined by the search for the truth, which is typically described as a deeper truth or never taking something at face value. Typically, this form of paganism is a blanket term, a kind of oxymoron considering that paganism itself is also a blanket term. However, typically anything not given itself a name comes under the term occult, and most organised religions, such as the Abrahamic religion, see the occult as anything supernatural or paranormal that is not taught by God, or their version of God. And this has given about occultism a fair amount of negative press over the years, which isn't helped by films. So occultism is generally, the way I've looked at it is occultism is generally just maybe not necessarily following of a god, but trying to find information like alchemy and stuff like that. And the reason this knowledge is hidden isn't just necessarily hidden, it's forgotten. So sometimes it's a bit like piecing everything back together. Okay, secondly, the type of paganism we're going to talk about today is syncretic, I believe is the way you pronounce it. And this is something that I haven't actually come across before until I started doing research for this video. So it's not an area that I'm hugely researched in. This is similar in views to eclectic paganism, and it has different views for each person. It's typically seen as a mixture of pagan and non-pagan beliefs that fit the person's practicing. For example, an Astaru vegan. So someone who looks at the examples of the Loki, I'm trying to talk, of the old gods and thinks, you know what, I should do something else. So an opinionated person maybe. Oh, no, my phone. Yeah, okay. Next, there is reconstructed paganism. This is the penultimate type, because typically there's only 4 types of paganism, branches anyway, that I've managed to find. And this is very similar to, but at loggerheads with folkloric traditions. Typically, while it does also use folklore and history, it tends to forgo the superstitious side of things and focuses solely on the facts of the matter of hand. So, for example, some Astaru pagans believe that Loki was not worshipped as a god in older times and that the prose Edda cannot be used as it is written by a Christian monk. So some people aren't sure if Loki, who I follow, so this does interest me, was actually a god, or if he was a spirit or being that was used in folk tales, or if he was just something older. We're not sure. I touched gently on this, which is the folkloric path of paganism. This path is different from the others because it draws from many different areas of life, and not just what we know or what was written down. This type of practice takes into account all of the stories, both oral and historical, and superstitions, but also uses, funny enough, jokes, plays, and other media. Typically uses more than the old history books and relies heavily on word of mouth to spread. So it'd be like using the witches in Macbeth to write a spell, I suppose, if you were that way inclined. The final type of paganism that I love personally, and it works best for me, is eclectic paganism. Now, typically you will find many of these practitioners are solitary. They don't have a coven or group that they work in. It's a melting pot of religious beliefs and practices, a path created and based on the practitioner's own experiences and experiments in life. So there's 5 types of mainstream paganism. I say mainstream, nothing's mainstream in paganism, but there's 5 branches of paganism that are accepted among the literary writers of the world. Now, I'm not going into like the Norse or anything like that in this area. There's just 5 types that have been that are written down, kind of like being a Methodist Christian. You have the same background as Christians, but you have slightly different beliefs, kind of thing. Okay, they're not actual religious paths in this sense. For example, Satanists are typically seen as occultic practitioners, but don't really follow gods or such beings. Now, then again, there is 2 forms of Satanistic paths that I'm aware of. There is the atheist paths that have chosen to call themselves Satanists to be edgy. No, that's me. No, basically they don't believe in a god. They don't believe in anything like that, and they have decided that to boast, to raise humanity up as God, and it's the whole do what you want but just don't be a dick kind of thing. I do and don't agree with this, but I'll go into that in a different thing. And then there's the actual Satanists that do the devil and demon worship. Like, they're both very different paths. They are both very viable paths, but I have views on people who don't follow gods and stuff like that, calling themselves something to do with a god. I really do. It's but we'll go into that in a different story, different video maybe. So these are the main ones, but you can go out there obviously and research your own, and I'll stop going off on tangents. So here are a couple of paths of paganism that you may or may not know. Loki, please get away from the microphone. So the most well-known branch of paganism in this modern day is Wicca, which is a modern form of paganism introduced in the 1950s. Wiccans follow the wheel of the year and celebrate the cycle of life. Typically, many of them are also witches. However, you do not need to be a witch to be a Wiccan, and not all witches are Wiccans either. For example, myself, I am a witch, but I am not a Wiccan. I do not believe in the harm none, do as you will, and the threefold law. Too many bad people get away with too much shit. I follow and subscribe to the path of do no harm, but take no shit. You come for me and mine, I am gonna mess you up. Okay? And that's my beliefs. That's not the Wiccan beliefs. Okay, among the Wiccan faith, there are several paths that you can choose from. Again, they each have their own faiths and practices, but are all bound under the Rede. And the biggest rules of theirs, as I've just mentioned, is the harm none. If it harms none, do as you will. So again, research Wicca if that's the kind of thing you want to get into. If not, you know, ignore it, or at least cherry pick. That's what I do as an eclectic pagan. Then there's Druidism, which follows on from the quick dive into Wicca and is often sometimes mistaken for Wicca. Don't do that. Please don't. It sucks. Typically, they mark the turn of the year with the rites and passages that follow the ancient ways of the Iron Age Celts, and typically they honour nature in all of its form and have some crossovers with shamanism, though I don't believe they called it shamanism because obviously they weren't anywhere near the Native Americans at the time. Druidism shares some roots with the Astari path of paganism, seeing as some of the beliefs stem from Germany and their surrounding areas. Sorry, Asatru. I suck at pronouncing this. Asatru is a mix of Norse, Scandinavian and Germanic traditions that follow the 9 virtues of the gods, which demand a mix of respect for yourself, your family, the gods and the traveller out in the world. Following on from Druidism and Asatru, there is the Hellenism, which is a fairly large path that it also follows. Sorry, let me restart that. Hellenism is another fairly large path that also has a large following among many modern-day paganisms. Similarly to the Astari faith, the Hellenistic faith is based on archaeological finds, arts, songs and oral traditions of modern and ancient Greeks. However, it's not an established or accepted Greek form of worship, as you are not allowed to leave offerings at temples. I found that out. That was an interesting tidbit. Kemeticism is the 3rd largest set of reconstructed religious paths in the modern pagan road set. And this one is slightly different from the others, however, in that it blanket covers many different subsets of gods compared to others. So whereas Hellenism may include Roman gods as well as the Greek gods because they are pretty much the same, Kemeticism also includes Nubian, ancient Egyptian, North African and other gods. Typically, from what I've researched, this can be the hardest one to find a coven for within the UK. If you are outside of the UK, it can be a bit easier, but please be careful and please be respectful to who you are approaching. Finally, for the ones I'm going to cover, there is the Native American belief systems that are based on working with spirits and such. I'm going to kind of gloss over it, as I said, because I don't want to seem like I'm dumbing down this particular area of paganism, as it is fraught with political, racial and social connotations that I really don't want to mess with. I already say quite a few things on this channel that could upset someone, so I don't want to do that. I would personally love to learn from a shaman, and I would love to feel I had the right to earn it. So other than giving it a brief mention, I'm not going to do anything like that because I don't have the right to talk about it. I'm not of Native American descent in any way, shape or form. I am Germanic Scottish, so at best I could teach about Druidism and Norse Astari comfortably. If I was taken in by a shaman and taught, then I would talk about it, but I wouldn't teach it as I'm not safe for me. Another area that I forgot to write about, but I'm not comfortable researching again, is Voodoo. I probably pronounced that horribly, I'm not good with French. It's typically of voodoo and hoodoo, kind of the gods and the lower. I don't want to again stir the pot of racial connotations or social, political, any problems on this area. Again, if someone wants to approach me and talk to me about it, I am more than willing to listen, but I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable by going out there and talking to them, because often that can cause issues. So if people want to approach and teach, I'm more than willing to listen. If I'm not comfortable with going out there and jumping into their world, demanding to be taught. So thank you for taking time to watch this video today. It has been a long time coming, a long time in the making. I first attempted over script writing, so here we go. If you've got any other ideas for videos, please leave them in a comment down below. Also, please do just comment in general anyway. I always try and respond to all my comments, and if you do leave a comment, I will come and watch some of your videos and leave comments, hopefully constructive. Also, please don't forget that I do have a giveaway going at the moment. I will include links down below in the video description. Thank you for watching, take care and have fun.